Reporting live with a new member on the team.
One of the great lessons I've learned in life is nothing good ever comes easy.
Excuse me, sir, you can't fish here. Come on.
For the past 2 years, I've traveled hundreds of miles and spent thousands of dollars just trying to catch wahoo. But lately, I've asked myself, maybe I'm doing too much. Now, I've always been one to seek greener grass, but if you water what you got, it's pretty cool how things play out.
We're not used to that right there.
This is really good.
Well, good morning from Worldwide Sportsman. For those of you that don't know, Worldwide Sportsman is an iconic location down here in the Florida Keys. And I would say more so just because it has that classic Bass Pro feel, but Florida Keys style. You know, they have the fish tank inside with all the bonefish, all the cool species that you can go in there and check out. They have an awesome shop. And then of course, you know, we have a fleet of charter boats here. And right in front of me, I have Jake and Jamie.
How's it going?
Jake's Offshore Adventures here. Basically, Jake is probably about one of 4 boats down here in the Florida Keys that do spearfishing charters. And something that makes him really unique is the boat that he spearfishes out of. What is this here, Jake? So it's an island hopper?
An island hopper. It's 30 feet long. It's got 12 foot of beam, so tons of room for the charter, all the gear. And it's just an overall great boat to go out on and get out on the water.
Yeah. We're gonna load up into the Pathfinder, see if we can maybe catch a little bit of bait. And
yeah, man, I heard it's been good out there, so I'm excited to go diving with you and see if we can get our first wahoo on that boat.
Let's pretend like we know what we're doing. At least one of us does, right?
Which people are you talking about?
Talking about you guys. Don't ask me how to shoot a wahoo.
Like this time of year, they've been just swimming right up to us.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, I'll take that.
Yeah.
See, I like dumb fish. Those are my favorite fish. Well, huge props to you guys. I mean, from what I know, this marina, it's pretty difficult to get into, right?
Yeah, I definitely got lucky with my spot here. Beautiful marina. I would think it's one of the more well-kept marinas down here in the Florida Keys.
Yeah. In 30 seconds, tell me the best of the best that people will want to know about Jake's Offshore Adventures.
About 90% of what we do is all spearfishing, but we do lobstering, line fishing, all sorts of other charters. I even do sandbar charters. We're a new growing charter company, and I appreciate you letting me show you what we're about here.
Dude, I appreciate you guys being so selfless and just being genuine, coming out on the boat. Fingers crossed, there's some high hopes for today. Excuse me, sir, you can't fish here. Boat looks good. Like I was saying, dude, I mean, really all of the islands back inside of here, especially that one I sent you, you know, there's a lot of snook around right now.
I finally got a decent throw there. I had like 10 baits. Come on. And that ball right there just popped back up.
Nice. All right, man, well, it's good seeing you. If you need anything, just call me, text me, whatever you need.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yes! We're just catching some bait here. Didn't bring any throw flashers, what we're gonna use to help spear some wahoo. So we're gonna keep these dead probably, maybe keep a few live ones.
So if you guys were wondering why I was soaping up, when I don't behave properly, Stephanie kicks me out of the house, so she makes me sleep in the Pathfinder, hence why I was taking my shower this morning. But on a serious note, if you soap up and get your wetsuit wet before you put it on, it makes it a lot easier.
Hey, you think we might bring some fish home and she might let you back in the house tonight?
Dude, that's one of the biggest reasons why I'm out here today.
Well,
and especially if we could get her a wahoo. Stephanie hasn't been able to eat a wahoo because she's been pregnant for the past 9 months. If we could bring her back a Wahoo, you guys are gonna have some serious brownie points.
The pressure is on.
Yep, the pressure is on. All right, well, when going Wahoo spearing, it kind of takes some special gear. We use really big guns. You kind of want to have the furthest shot possible when they come in to give you the best chance. And we like to run these float systems, and it's connected to a float line which connects to the shaft in the gun. So when you shoot, the Wahoo will take off on this float and float line, and you're not connected to it at all, which is very ideal. It kind of helps keep tension off the fish as well, and the float helps tire it out. When we jump in the water, we're just gonna basically be drifting in our spot, going through where most of the bait is, and we're gonna have these flashes in the water. And what these flashes are is just a line with a buzz bomb at the bottom and some flashy reflective pieces of plastic here. They see the shiny stuff in the water and they swim right up to it. And that's the ideal situation you could have. When fish are swimming by and they aren't really paying attention to this, we like to throw flashes or dead bait. We have mullet here today. We're just gonna be tossing full mullet in the water and chumming while we're drifting. But sometimes people will use plastic PVC pipe tubes with flashy tape. That works well. But we're gonna get out there and see if we can't get in the water and shoot a Wahoo.
So Wahoos hang out around big pieces of structure. In our case, we're diving a shipwreck here. Conditions are always best when the current's running relatively hard, and obviously the calmer, the better, the more visibility, the easier it is for you to see these fish. But in our case here, we have a solid 10 to 15 knots of wind, just enough for the bay boat to get offshore. We didn't see any Wahoo on this first drift, but there was a massive school of permit. And that's one of the coolest things about spearfishing. Even if you don't shoot something, it's always just so fascinating interacting with all the life around these wrecks.
That's cool. There's so much life down there.
Everything looks right. There's lots of bait, lots of blue water. So I'm pretty pumped.
Pretty cool. Every single time that we dive down on the wreck, we're seeing like Goliath groupers, seeing some permit, barracudas, lots of yellowtails. No Wahoos yet, but we're hoping that the current picks up here a little bit. Once that current starts running a little harder, essentially what happens is those fish, they can stage up on that wreck, and then the current basically creates like a conveyor belt. So we just gotta wait for that current to pick up a little bit, and hopefully that's the key.
So as soon as I got back in the water, I saw this school of yellowjack, and every fish in the pack was just massive. They were down probably about 40 feet, so I very slowly started to descend, just because I've yet to shoot the gun or really even get a feel for the float system. Very calmly, I approached the fish, and somehow I managed to stick the biggest one in the school, which is always a nice prize. The fish takes off right here, and as you can see, he probably goes down another 60 feet down to the bottom, so you can get a really good understanding of how deep that we're actually diving. I came back up to the surface, and Jake came in to help me out, and he immediately started pulling on the float, but the same exact way that you would pull on a fish with a fishing rod. When he stops running, you pull. When he's pulling, you let go and you let him run. Now obviously this isn't a wahoo, but yellowjacks are probably some of the hardest fighting fish that you could potentially shoot. So very slowly, I just finessed him up to the top, and the first thing that I did was take the knife, spike his brain, and bleed him out, just because yellowjack and most fish taste a lot better when you bleed them out. In my opinion, it is probably one of the most underrated fish down here in the Florida Keys, and these guys are absolutely delicious.
It's not our wahoo, but it's a little something. So there's a nice school of yellowjacks that came swimming by, and I just figured might as well take the shot. That way I could get a feel for the gun, get a feel for the float, everything else going on. But just lined them up, got a nice one out of the school, got him right in the belly, perfect shot, so we didn't sacrifice any meat on him. We're gonna throw him in the box, hop back in, and see if we can get our wahoo. All right, we're gonna get back on him.
So we're back in the water and we're working on our second drift of the day. Blue water spearfishing definitely has a unique feel just because you feel like you're desolate in the middle of the ocean. But as calming as this is, it's really important to pay attention and keep your head on a swivel, because if these wahoo are in the area, it's really not too uncommon for them to come up to the flasher. But I found that if I were to dive, say about 20-30 feet below the surface and look up, you're able to see so much more rather than being at the surface. In doing so, I see my first wahoo, and that calming feeling turns into adrenaline, and my heart is beating out of my chest at this point. But I know I have to stay calm and match the behaviors of these fish, because the moment that I move a little too quick or I flinch, these fish are gone. And as you can see, this last one right here breaks away from the pack, so I go in for the shot. One of the biggest lessons I've learned in life is nothing good ever comes easy, rather than being patient and closing the gap. I did what any rookie would do, and I took the shot just way too early. But that's human nature. Failures eventually lead to success because that's how we learn. Sure, sometimes you can get lucky, but one thing I can say as a man, giving up is not an option. Even though I wasn't able to close the gap, that's the closest I've ever been towards shooting a wahoo. So in some way, shape, or form, I would say that that's a win. It's so important to pay attention to those little gains, because when accumulated as a whole, it gives you the momentum that you need to stay persistent towards what it is that you're trying to accomplish. With that being said, we're back on the hunt for another wahoo. And as you can see here, I took another dive. Like I had mentioned, it just allows you to see so much more beneath the surface. Jake's up there keeping an eye on me, and I'm hanging out real close to the flasher here. And I'm scanning, keeping my head on a swivel. And sure enough, right when I look up, there's a whole school of wahoo right in front of me. It's pretty unbelievable how these fish just show up out of nowhere and they disappear right back into the blue water. So I'm trying my hardest to just calmly approach these fish. But man, once again, my adrenaline is just pumping. At this point, I've been holding my breath for about a minute, so I know that I need to do something quick. I didn't have any bait or throw flashers on me, so my only shot was just really trying to close the gap on this fish. So I went ahead and I took the shot.
Jake! Come here!
The first thing I did was scream Jake's name, because obviously there was a lot more fish in the school headed his way. Fortunately, I hit the fish. Unfortunately, the spear pulled out as he took off. Plain and simple, I'm just not getting close enough to these fish, but I'm hopeful because Jake's already locked in on the school. As you can see, I threw a mullet up in front of the Wahoo, and Jake went from being a potential threat to potential competition. Once the Wahoo became interested in the bait, he approached Jake a little closer, in essence, trying to eat the bait before Jake does. But this right here is what I failed to do. Close the gap, extend the arms, and make the shot.
Wahoo on! Wahoo on! Go!
Even though the fish is secured to the float, at this point there's still so many things that can happen. As you can see, the fish comes flying right underneath me, and Jake is swimming as fast as he can to try and catch up to this float line. These wrecks are filled with sharks and barracudas, so at any given moment, you never know what's going to happen. So it's very important to try and secure these fish as fast as possible. And as you can see, Jake isn't wasting any time because we're met with worst case scenario. A whole pack of barracudas come up just ready to devour this Wahoo. Jake is trying his hardest to pull this fish in, but he has to let go because this fish is pulling him under and he needs to come up for air. Predators like sharks and barracudas key in on electrical impulses that these fish give off when injured. And as you can see, letting go of this fish does nothing other than just fire up these barracudas even more. I swam as fast as I possibly could towards Jake to hopefully deter these barracudas. Thankfully, as I got closer, these barracudas seemed to lose more interest, seeing us both as more of a threat. This allowed Jake to close the gap, grab the fish, and mission accomplished, baby.
Woo! That's what it's all about, buddy. I took the shot I won. Dude, there are some big ones in there. I know, my shaft pulled out though. So they came, that's how you chase them. Yeah. And then I turned around over to my right, and there was just 3 of them swimming straight at me. That's awesome, man. Got one, baby. That's what it's all about.
That's a nice one too, man. What a cool experience though. I mean, I wasn't lucky enough to hit mine, but I mean, just swimming with all those fish, I mean, like I've said, I've been as far as South Bank trying to catch these, and I came back empty-handed, spent thousands of dollars of fuel. What do you know, man? Out there swimming with them in your backyard. It's just so cool. It's a really, really cool deal.
Players, put your pinky rings up to the moon. Girls, what y'all trying to do? 24 karat magic in the air. Head to toe so clear. Look out. Pop, pop, it's showtime.
Hey, buddy. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Got my Wahoo colored Avail shirt for our Wahoo here. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm really excited. But we got a lot of other things to be excited about right now. Number one, I have my little baby girl upstairs, which I'm so excited to see. Number two, we finally have our rods available on availgear.com, finally in stock. And then number three, we finally have an opportunity for you guys to cross over with us to the Bahamas. Basically, we got invited by Battleground Bahamas, and Battleground Bahamas is basically a yellowfin tuna fishing tournament with other species like mahi, skipjack tuna, blackfin tuna. Wahoo is actually even one of the species. And the tournament is taking place June 13th through the 15th. So the 13th, we're actually gonna be crossing our brand new front runner from Miami over to Grand Bahama, Freeport to be more specific. And basically everybody is invited to cross over with us and be a part of the tournament. But at the end of the day, we just really look forward to having you guys join us over there, fish the tournament, and most importantly, just be a part of Life by the Bow. But speaking of being part of Life by the Bow, appreciate you guys being a part of Life by the Bow, because
thanks for having us, man.
Of course, man. So they brought over a whole recipe, whole bunch of toppings, but I just lost my train of thought. because I see my beautiful wife and my beautiful baby girl walking down the dock for the first time.
Everywhere I go, they be like, oh, so bad.
Hi. Hi, baby Keely. You look so comfy.
She is.
And Stephanie no longer has a baby inside of her.
I know. So give it like a couple weeks and I'll be able to get in the water.
Yeah, but you can eat Wahoo now, right?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
son of Coach Charlie drives an 87 Harley, sells gasoline and what you drink 8 to 3 a.m. Got a tattoo for the core, and ex-wife number 4. Humming along, schooling you on the songs on his stage.
So I carried this baby for 9 months and I was extra careful while I was pregnant with her, what I did, what I ate. So I was careful with fish especially. So I've been fiending for it. And now that she's here, I'm going to town.
And she puts in all that work and then she looks just like her dad.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's another thing.
I don't know, I think she looks like you right now. When she's relaxed, she looks like her mom. When she's tense and uptight, she looks like her dad. So I'm not gonna lie, this is really impressive.
Yeah, man.
I gotta give you a nice handshake for that,
Thank
man.
you. Well, this is one of my favorite parts of catching Wahoo is preparing it like this and sharing it with friends. So here we're gonna do what I call a Wahoo Terradito. Pretty much it's just sliced thin Wahoo, put a little bit of this extra light virgin olive oil on it, salt and pepper. And then what I do is I sprinkle a little bit of the red onion over the top of it, and then cilantro, jalapenos, and just a little bit of oranges. And I finish it off with just squeezing it with an orange. And then here we have one of my favorites, it's the Wahoo nachos. It's just diced up Wahoo with a little bit of soy sauce and sesame oil with some black and white sesame seeds. And you scoop a little bit of the seaweed salad on, and then you put a little Wahoo on it, and just put a little sriracha mayo on, and it's good to go. And a little bit of eel sauce. Right here, we have another one of my favorites. I actually created this one all just from stuff I had in my house one day. First, I take the Wahoo and I coat it in egg whites and then the sesame seed mixture. And then I sear it in the pan. And then what I do is I slice it up and I put a homemade cranberry orange sauce on it and just a little bit of orange zest on it. Since Stephanie wanted to stay at home, I decided to do a little bit of nigiri as well. I went to the sushi restaurant and got a bunch of toppings, so we're gonna do some fancy stuff so she feels like she's at the sushi restaurant.
Really, really cool deal, man. I can't thank you guys enough.
I can't wait for you to try it.
All right, so it does not get any more perfect than this right now. Hot tub's nice and heated after being in some cool water all day. But I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna let Miss Stephanie do the honors here. Which one do you want to try first?
The tuna nachos.
Tuna nachos.
Wahoo nachos.
Wahoo
Oh my
nachos.
gosh, Wahoo nachos.
We're not used to that right
Yeah,
there.
I'm not.
Don't drop it on Keely's head, man.
I know, that's the hardest part.
Oh.
All right, now be honest. Okay,
It's really
that's
good.
fine. That was
This is really good.
That's amazing.
Oh, I'm still picking Wahoo up out of the pool.
That's amazing, guys.
I put my hand under it this time.
That is awesome.
That is really good. The cranberry adds like a really nice.
Yeah, the cranberry is
It's different, right?
delicious.
So that is the Wahoo nigiri with a little squid ink tabiko and a little gold on top with truffle oil and ponzu.
I feel like I'm at a 5-star restaurant right now.
Here, I'll hold it.
Wow. That's the best one I've had.
Yeah?
Yeah, the truffle oil really does it.
This is really good. Wow.
And that is the Wahoo Terradito.
Little jalapeno spice on there.
Oranges, cilantro, banana.
That is awesome. It's fresh, right? Like fresh ingredients. Really is nice of you guys.
Yeah, man, it was an
Seriously.
awesome time. I'm glad we had a lot of fun.
Unbelievable that these fish are swimming in our backyard, and it's always cool to hook up with some really good people. But until the next video, we'll see you guys then.
Bye, guys.